My name's Adam Riojas. I was convicted of murder in September of 1990. I was incarcerated in prison for nearly 14 years for a crime that I did not commit. I lived in Oceanside since I was 10. I was born in San Diego. Um, Grew up just on the coastal towns, Carlsbad and Encinitas. The farthest inland we lived is when my father was part owner of a big giant ranch. My father left when I was 10. They forced me to go to Catholic school in first grade, and they kicked me out. They didn't want me there. I couldn't follow all the litany they had, all the repetitious praying and stuff. It was like, what the heck? What kind of relationship is that if there is a God, right? I have one brother and one sister left. Two brothers have died. My younger brother died he got ran over by a car. He was 4. My older brother got shot accidentally, with somebody was cleaning a gun, whatever. Got hit in the knee and bled to death in like a couple minutes. When my father left, my mother worked 3 jobs and on welfare. Occasionally, he would appear. What I mean occasionally, it wouldn't, maybe once every 2 or 3 years, maybe twice a year here and there. I don't think I saw him more than 3 times a year since I was 10. I knew that he was a bad guy. I knew that when he left that he had been in a prison one time before. It was a federal prison. How do I know? We went and saw him. I went to school at Oceanside High. I was a pirate. Yay, pirates. Yeah, I played football. I did the whole thing. Ran a varsity track, 4 years of varsity track. 4 years of varsity soccer, made second team all-league as a freshman and made all-league every year after that. We won the championship as a freshman in soccer. I could do a mile faster, a half mile faster than anybody else as a freshman. As a matter of fact, in 8th grade, I had a county record that stood, I don't know how long, but I ran a 4:52 mile in 8th grade. And I ran like a 2 minute, 2 second half a mile in 8th grade. And I ran like a 55, 56 quarter mile in high school, in 8th grade. I'd shattered every school record. I used to have these dreams that I could fly. and it just manifested in everything I did. Everything just seemed to flow. I could get an A on anything I ever wanted to. Crazy. Innate talent. The whole God thing was foreign to me. I didn't believe in God. My dream really was just to make money, bro. To be successful, to have the nice sports cars, to have the nice homes, to being just a secular, worldly guy, to have the nice women around me, which, that was part of being an athlete. Money, I knew I wanted to make money, but didn't have really a direction yet. Didn't really have a direction. It wasn't until probably the last year of college that I hooked up with a local promoter. We started doing a lot of smaller type concerts in theaters and in venues with top 20 hip-hop music new artists. That's how I ended up in Hawaii, and decided that the only way I could live there was to sell real estate. I was making about $1,000 a day. Pretty good. I had a condo in Carlsbad. On December 8th, 1989, my birthday, I flew in because the night before it was the Sugar Ray and Leonard fight on December 7th. it was HBO thing, or we bought the movie, the rights, watched it. A friend of a guy who had spent the night came to borrow a car. See, it wasn't clear whether he was picking up a car at a shop or on the side of the freeway. Didn't know, didn't care. Early in the morning, here's the keys, go. They take the van. He comes back by himself around 4-ish. Nothing of the unusual, leaves. I go out that night, it's my birthday. Next day, I go back to Hawaii. January 1st of 1990, I get arrested at the gym at gunpoint. Actually, we were driving to the gym and in the parking lot, surrounded by probably, 10, 15 undercover cars. Put us all on the ground, didn't know what was happening. Got taken to a jail. What was really a kind of even a quagmire still is that I had a single police officer drive me to the jail, and I sat in the front seat with him. He says, bro, the record says, or the report says that you're just a suspect, but it says you're probably not the guy. He says, sit in the front seat with me. He had this talk with me. He's like, bro, life changes in an instant. I said, man, I didn't do this. He says, you probably didn't. He says, but you're going to prison. I said, no, I'm not. I said, I didn't do this crime. He says, you don't understand this world. He says, don't worry, 10 years, you're out, everything will be okay. He says, you'll pick up your life. He goes, you don't look like the type of guy that'll give up. You pick up the pieces right where you left off. They read me my rights and stuff, and he told me it was murder. The attorney told me that it wasn't wise for me to speak, so I didn't. He says, I don't need you to talk. He says, you'll walk out. Because, up to that point, that offered me time served. They went from a year, take a year. In a year, you only do like half time. Do like 6 months, and you're out. I wouldn't do that. And then it got to where it was time served, which they were working on. He says, you're going to get time served, don't worry about it. They were dropping it to like manslaughter or something. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I didn't do it, so I'm not taking a deal. I said, you're not going to ruin my life. I said, I have a life to live. I sell real estate. I didn't take it. And sure enough, I got sentenced to life in prison. Los Angeles County is supposedly the toughest jail system in the world. Well, I remember, my introduction the first day. It was in Los Angeles County. There was probably 1,000 people in this big, giant, massive holding tank. It takes probably about 8 hours to process you, and then you end up in this big, giant thing. You go from cell to cell, where there's probably anywhere from 5 to 100 people in these certain blocks. And then you finally end up in this place that holds about 1,000 people. And then from there, they send you off to cells. In prison, 14 years for a crime I didn't do. If there's a hell, this is it.
San Diego's most trusted source for news, information, and solutions. With Carol LeBeau and Hal Clement, this is 10 News Live at 5.
13 years, 6 months, 3 weeks, 6 or 7 hours.
That's how long Adam Riojas has been serving behind bars, serving time for a crime he did not commit. The real murderer was his own father, who knowingly sent his son to life in prison.
But today, all that is behind Adam Riojas and the team of dedicated law students who helped set him free. 10 News reporter Kim Edwards joins us with another success story for the Innocence Project.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I kind of want to bring you guys to where I was running around today thinking, well, I got to do this, got to do that.
My father dies, but before he dies, before he dies, in a coma state, he gets up and says, "I'm guilty. My son is in prison for something I did." My aunt calls me, says, "Your father died. He was yelling that he didn't do it, but he's crazy. He's about to die." And I said, "What?" I tell my mother. My mother hires a private investigator, but the private investigator wants $10,000. $1,000 just to talk to me. My mom says, "I'll give you the $1,000. Tell me what, and then we'll take it from there." He talks to me and says, "Let me do some research." Comes back, says, "I'm doing it for free." He says, "You shouldn't be in prison." Investigates everybody he's known, everybody, because a deathly confession is not good. It means nothing unless there's evidence behind that, and of course there was tons of it. 8 of his brothers and sisters knew that he had committed the crime. 1 knew the day it happened. All of his friends knew that it happened. He had confessed. They all knew, but nobody came forward. Some of them said they were scared of him. Others were just didn't want to get involved. Cowards. It's presented, they release me. I'm out. Met a wonderful woman, my wife. Been married now a year. A little over a year and a few days probably now. We got married November 4th. Just had our honeymoon, went to Big Sur, had an amazing time. Took our daughter now, who's 3 months. Yay! Second thing best that happened since, have a little beautiful daughter and just enjoying life now. Enjoying life.